Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Over 750 of these audios available. Hopefully, something that you find useful if you are looking for a way to kind of spot toxic friends or deal with and grieve going through a toxic friendship, which can be extremely painful, especially if the person is in your inner circle and then you realize that they weren't necessarily, you know, helpful or healthy for you. It can be super valuable to identify those toxic patterns. So, if that's something you're interested in doing or you're looking for other forms of coaching, we do have YouTube specials available, so feel free to ask about those. But you can reach out through Twitter at PO Perception or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. My website is there, my contact information for business inquiries is there, and all sorts of other things along the way. So hopefully that's helpful to you. I encourage you to reach out if there's something I can do for your benefit. The next thing to kind of look at is signs that you are dealing with a toxic friendship or have in the past. So there's basically 5 things that a toxic friend will do. The first is they're hypercritical of you as a person. They're hypercritical of the things you do, the things you say, or the actions you take. And the criticism never really ends. So even if you make behavioral modifications for their benefit or to keep the friendship easier going, they'll come up with something else to complain about the next day, the next week, the next month. And so what you begin to notice is the criticism is a major part of the friendship, a major part of the relationship, and that ultimately isn't healthy for you or for them. The next is they control your moods. So their mood or their happiness with you is directly related to your happiness as a person. And so you almost will anticipate, or try to anyway, how they may react to things and therefore change your behavior for their benefit. Now, obviously, if you truly love someone or you care about them deeply, and they're frustrated with certain things or annoyed by certain behaviors, you're going to try and make modifications. However, if you're the only one making modification on a consistent basis and you never get to a place where they're making sacrifices or modifications for your benefit and things are disproportionate, this is a toxic friendship. Obviously, give and take is part of friendship, it's part of relating and part of relationship. But when a person doesn't feel that they are, able to receive reciprocally, any feedback or any alteration or movement towards being kind to each other, this can be problematic. The next is if the person's always busy. Look, I think we spend more time than ever before doing things that we deem important, but that really may not be as important as we think they are. However, the bottom line on that is if a person makes you feel like they have no time for you, that's a toxic friendship because they're only going to use you when it's beneficial to them. Now, obviously, if someone's going through a different life stage, they've just had a child, they've just bought a house, they've just gotten married or divorced or whatever the case may be. Obviously, being patient during life stage changes is there as a tent marker for we've got to be kind and we've got to be considerate. But at the same time, if you are going through several weeks, several months, or longer of a situation where a person isn't willing to sacrifice or make time for you, that is a problem. The next is no shame. So maybe they changed plans on you, maybe they've hurt you in some way, or maybe they've dismissed your emotions. But if there's no remorse for negative consequence to your quality of life or negative consequence to what matters to you as a person, this can be super problematic and very toxic. And a lot of times we excuse it at first, but when it becomes a pattern, then ultimately that's an issue in and of itself. The next thing is, and the last thing, is the habit of ghosting. So if a person is constantly, ghosting an individual, or they're not available, they disappear, they come in and out of your life on a consistent basis without any regard for how that affects you, and or they don't really talk about, hey, I could change this or you could change that, and we could relate differently and make more time for each other or do something of that general nature, that becomes problematic for a number of reasons. In any event, hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.